Hello guys, today we'll be talking about games and how games don't have to be innovative. Yes, it's a very controversial take on the gaming industry, but what do you mean games don't have to innovate? Games will survive. I'm not talking about games we don't need new IP. Yes, we do need new IPs of gaming. I'm talking about established IPs, particularly the Overwatch 2 controversy. Yes, we all know Overwatch 2. And the controversy of Overwatch 2 is basically because, first of all, we have no information about the game, so of course, yeah, it's controversial of its own because there's no information about it. We don't know any much about the game besides the gameplay in 2019. But Overwatch 2 controversy is that Overwatch 2 is very, very similar to Overwatch 1. But games have been doing this for a long time actually. Game companies have been doing this for a long time. The most infamous example is the EA is the yearly sports releases. We all know all these yearly sports releases are exactly the same as the previous games, with roster changes. But there are lots of other successful franchises that we all know and love are very similar to previous games. Talk about the established formula. Of course, these games probably are still probably more innovative than Overwatch 2, but Overwatch is probably likely using an established formula for looks. Basically, all they're doing is strapping out a story mode to Overwatch 2 and saying, yep, it's a sequel. Yep, that's what we get. So, what are we going over several of them? Next is Pokemon. First is Pokemon. Pokemon has basically been very, very similar to what it was in the beginning games. Yes, there have been changes and innovations to the Pokemon game, but the core Pokemon game is still there. Battling, catching Pokemon, and beating the Elite Four. And the champion. And so on. There's no Elite Four, but you still have to beat the champion. You still have to beat an evil team. You still have to catch the legendaries. You still have to fight all the gym leaders except for Sun and Moon, where you have the trials. But the Isle captains are basically gym leaders in their own rights. But are basically the gym leaders of the game alongside the trials. So yeah, they're basically gyms, but they're the low-end versions of gyms. And yeah, Pokemon has stayed relatively the same. And yep, another franchise that of course is Call of Duty. I think Call of Duty wouldn't be successful if they innovated, if they changed the formula or innovated. Call of Duty has always been successful by releasing a new game every year. It is Activision's moneymaker, and it's owned by Activision and Blizzard because they're the same company. But Call of Duty doesn't really need to innovate. Call of Duty has stayed relatively the same ever since it came out, and yeah, it has been basically, Call of Duty. I think the existing Call of Duty fan base would be angry if they changed the Call of Duty formula. I think that one example is Infinite Warfare and Black Ops 4. People hated Infinite Warfare and people hated Black Ops 4. So of course, because they ruined with the existing formula and they went back to the original formula that people all loved. The next franchise we'll be going over is Kirby. But Kirby isn't Kirby hasn't really changed since it came out. Kirby, basically, it's basically a platform series where you beat a bunch of old, you beat the big bad in the new game, now there's some new gimmick thrown in, and you basically have copy abilities to copy. Same thing with 2D Mario, very similar, beat a bunch of roads and beat Bowser. Basically, very similar from every 2D Mario game, even Mario Maker, and even Paper Mario is now having a formulaic strategy to it. Mortal Kombat has been very similar since the first games that came out, same thing with Smash Bros. And Street Fighter. They haven't really changed the formula. They don't need to since the franchise's inception. Mortal Kombat 11 and Mortal Kombat 10 are very similar games in terms of gameplay. Story-wise, of course, are different, but gameplay-wise, they're very similar. But there's no criticism over Mortal Kombat, of course, and any of these other franchises. But now we're going with franchises that have innovated, but we all know doesn't work. Most of the time, innovations do work in the benefit of gaming series, but two franchises we all know did not work from innovation. That is the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise and the Halo franchise. These two franchises are known infamously for having a very divided fan base because of the developers. Sonic started out as a 2D franchise and has stayed formulaic until the 3D games came out. Now there's a divide between the 3D games and the 2D games. and Sega doesn't know what to do, so they basically make Sonic games 2.5D. And yeah, they should just release a 3D and Sonic 2D Sonic game every now and then instead of just trying to do both worlds. That's why Sonic Forces failed. I like Sonic Forces, but I think that's why Sonic Forces failed. They keep trying to appease both parts of fan bases in each game, and no one likes it. You basically fail with both. Then it's Halo. Halo will probably not go back to classic Halo. Halo has changed so much from Halo 1. Yes, you still can shooting people there, but Halo has, yes, we all know has changed. Halo 5 has advanced movement. Halo 1 has not. Ever since Halo released, they introduced advanced movement to the game to make the gameplay feel worse. I think that's why Halo has basically changed for the worst. They basically made it a standard feature. Most old Halo fans hate the fact that in Halo 5, sprint is mandatory, and Halo 4, 5, and Infinite. And they'll add like grappling hooks to the game. And now they're trying to do the same thing with the Sonic franchise. I think Halo Infinite will be good, but I think it's gonna divide. Halo Infinite is probably gonna divide the Halo fan base more than anything else. And that's why now you know why most game franchises are very, very, very similar. Games are very similar to each other in terms of gameplay specifically. They don't need to innovate. All the 3D Zelda games very, very similarly. They don't need drastic innovations to be successful. All they have to do is be a good story and a good game. And yeah, all the Zelda games are basically, all the 3D Zelda games have been about saving Zelda in some form. So, there we go. Games do not need innovation. Overwatch 2 controversy is really because the gaming industry is just a bunch of complainers. So that's basically it. Goodbye.